Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday morning to you, and welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I'm the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. I appreciate you being with me here on this Monday. Hope you had an absolutely fantastic weekend. I uh, I actually made a little bit of progress on my '69 Mach 1 428 Cobra Jet car that I am in the process of trying to put back together. And unfortunately, that has been and it continues to be, uh, you know, oh, every time I turn around, I'm missing parts. And to buy parts is expensive. So I have to wait and I have to save and I have, on and on and on it goes. But I did make a little bit of progress over the weekend, just enough progress to go, yes, 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 to get me kind of excited about it. So anyway, I'll kind of keep you updated on that because I know I have a lot of gearheads that watch my morning musings. I have emails from a bunch of you who ask questions. Well, how are your project coming? How are your project coming? So I'll keep you posted on that. Now, before I get in the video this morning, I want to thank you so very much for the fantastic response to the introduction of my brand new book entitled Temple to Telos. Just introduced it what was that, Tuesday, when I introduced it. I have never had, and this is, I think, I'm not real positive, 34th or 35th book that I've written. I have never introduced a book that has gotten the response to like this one has. I mean, it has just been absolutely wonderful. And I want to thank you for that. So let me remind you that this book will normally be $12.95 plus $4.95 shipping. Okay. But for the month of December 2022, US orders only, the introductory price is $12.95 postpaid. I wish I could give you a reduction on the price of the book, but printing costs have gone up, publishing costs have gone up, and I try to keep my margins down. I try to make my books as affordable as possible, so I hope you'll be understanding of that. But I'm going to save you $5. There, go to my website, donkpreston.com, bibleprophecy.com. There's a beautiful banner right up at the very top. All you have to do is click on it and order the book. Now, I know that a bunch of you are ordering the book on Amazon, okay? I cannot offer you free shipping if you order through Amazon. Now, it's my understanding Amazon is doing an introductory as well. So I don't know exactly how that works. But I do know that if you order it through Amazon, I cannot offer you free shipping. And by the way, I've had any number of you ask me, now, do you benefit more if we order it directly from you or through Amazon? And without any question whatsoever, it benefits me more if you order the book directly from us through our website, because we do not get the full financial advantage if you purchase through Amazon. So if your desire is to help us out in our ministry, then please order the book directly through our website. And again, that's donkpreston.com or bibleprophecy.com. All right, so I want to get right into it now and get back. I have been spending some time on Revelation chapter 19, showing, point number one, it is describing the same coming of the Lord as foretold in Matthew chapter 25, 31 and following. I think it's necessary to bring us back up to speed to that and establish that. In Matthew chapter 25, we have the coming of Christ in the kingdom. Revelation 19, which is parallel, of course, to Revelation chapter 11. But in Revelation chapter 19, what do we have? We have the coming of Christ, the time of the kingdom. Matthew chapter 25, we have the coming of the Lord for salvation. Revelation 19, the coming of the Lord for salvation, which of course, by the way, let's not forget, is Hebrews chapter 9, verse 28. To those who eagerly look for him, he shall appear a second time apart from sin for salvation. So we have Matthew 25:31 and following, the coming of the Lord for salvation. We have Hebrews chapter 9, the coming of the Lord for salvation. And we have Revelation chapter 19, salvation coming at the coming of the Lord. Okay? We then have the motif of the wedding. Now remember, in Matthew chapter 25, 1 to 13, we have the coming of the Lord for the time of the wedding. Well, unless you're willing to say that Matthew 25, 1 to 13 is a different coming of the Lord from that in Matthew 25, 31 and following, then Matthew chapter 25, 31 and following is the coming of the Lord for the time of the wedding. So we have here three extremely powerful direct parallels that establish that Revelation 19 is in fact the coming of the Lord of Matthew chapter 25, 31 and following. Now, we've already shown you, okay, the coming of the Lord for salvation of Hebrews chapter 9 was going to come in a, quote, very, very little while and without delay, unquote, Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 37. We have already demonstrated repeatedly that the Olivet Discourse cannot be divided into two different subjects, i.e. the fall of Jerusalem in AD 70, and then some proposed end of time. So that means the coming of the Lord for salvation in Matthew chapter 25, 31 and following was likewise to be in the first century. And in Revelation, the coming of the Lord for salvation, for the kingdom, and by the way, let's not forget, Luke chapter 21, 28 to 32, in describing the Lord's coming in the fall of Jerusalem in AD 70, the Lord said, when you see these things come to pass, then know that the kingdom of heaven is drawn near. Okay? So again, we have all of these perfect, absolutely perfect parallels that establish the linkage between Matthew chapter 25, 31 and following, Revelation chapter 19, and AD 70. Now, we began an investigation in order to tie all of these passages together with Isaiah chapters 2 through 4. Why? Because Isaiah chapters 2 through 4 foretold the last days, day of the Lord. But that last days, day of the Lord would be the time of, quote, the war, when Israel's men would fall by the edge of the sword. Well, Jesus echoed Isaiah chapter 3, verse 24, in Luke chapter 21, verse 24, when, once again, describing the impending destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70, he said, and your men shall fall by the edge of the sword, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. Oh, just a word here. There's a great deal of controversy about the identity of the times of the Gentiles. Dispensationalists try to tell us, Mr. Robinson, Pat Robertson, said the times of the Gentiles began in 586 BC, and they ended in 1948. Well, that kind of went by the wayside. Then we have men like Thomas Ice, who have told us the times of the Gentiles have existed ever since AD 70. That doesn't work either. Both of those paradigms ignore the definition of the linguistics of Luke chapter 21 and verse 24. Jerusalem shall be trodden down. That's from the Greek word pateo. And the Greek word pateo means an active, in most cases, military or time of military conflict and oppression and destruction. It does not refer to political sovereignty. It doesn't refer to social injustice. It doesn't refer to financial distress. It means an active oppression, the most times a violent war. Now, Luke chapter 10, verse 18 is one slight variation from that, and yet it's still talking about a violent downtrodden, because it says I beheld Satan cast down from heaven, and he told his apostles, rejoice that Satan is trodden under your foot. Well, let me tell you, I've had a lot of experience with snakes down through the years, and when you trod on a snake, you're stomping it. It's active. It's really violent. Okay, so anyway, we have all of these connections here between the time of the war. So you have Isaiah chapter 2 through 4, talking about the time of the war in the last days, day of the Lord. You have Jesus citing Isaiah in Luke chapter 21, verse 24, and applying it to AD 70. Then you have Paul quoting from Isaiah chapter 2, 19 to 21, and applying it to the impending imminent coming of the Lord for the vindication of the martyrs in the judgment of Israel. Then you have John in Revelation, likewise quoting from Isaiah 2, 19 to 21, in predicting the imminent coming of the Lord for the vindication of the martyrs in the destruction of Babylon, the city where the Lord was crucified. And that time of the coming of the Lord is called the great day of God's wrath, and it is called the time of the war, Revelation 16 and following. And in Revelation chapter 19, in a direct parallel with Revelation chapter 16 and following, you have the gathering of the kings of the earth for what? The war. Now remember, Revelation has already cited Isaiah chapter 2 and the prediction of the day of the Lord in the war, chapter 3, verse 24, in the last days, day of the Lord. Here is the book of Revelation in Revelation chapter 6, referring to the coming day of the Lord, in the last days. You have Revelation 16 predicting the day of the Lord for the vindication of the martyrs of Revelation chapter 6 at the time of the war. And then you have Revelation 19 talking about the gathering of the kings of the earth for the war and the coming of the Lord to destroy them. Perfect harmony, perfect correlation. Now, Isaiah foretold the war at the coming of the glorious branch to vindicate the martyrs. Now, tomorrow, I am going to show you something absolutely mind-blowing about how Jesus and Paul and John all cited, all quoted from the exact same prophecy found in Isaiah chapter 2 through 4. Jesus, Paul, and John all quoted from the same identical verse to talk about the coming vindication of the martyrs, the coming day of the Lord. You do not want to miss this. So I'll see you on the flip side.